Hello, today we are going to talk about nested types, but before we go into what is nested type, I will tell you what problem do they solve. That way it will be easier for you to understand them. Okay, so notice that we have got here separated three variables like name, age, and sex. And they are connected to each other somehow because they describe one person here, and one person here. But it doesn't look good when we have got variables connected to each other and that are describing one person that way. Because imagine that you have got like 1,000 of them, right? It will be hard to find yourself in a code like that. It's also impossible to create a variable for each value if you are taking data from database, from the file, and so on. You would need to create a variable for each value you will want to store. And the solution to this problem was a list that we already know, list, tuple, or set, right? We create a person and we hold everything together. So the lists are solution for something like that. But still, this is not good because you have got now person 1, person 2, person 3, person 4, person 5. Still, these guys are somehow connected to each other, right? This is not only a person that is like not connected to that person, because they are, for example, a guest in your party, in the restaurant or in the hotel, whatever. They are somehow connected to each other, and that's why it's good to have something what is called a nested type. When you have got a list of lists, or a list of tuples, list of sets, and other things like that. We'll talk about it soon. But the most important thing is that, well, now we have got them connected, right? We have got them in one place, and because of that we have got them in one place, we can look at the guest list and see instantly all the guests, right? You can then create another list of not guests, but for example, the people that work in your place, and you instantly see that these guys are the ones that work in your place, right? And you can take from database, from the file, all of them at once into one place. This is very useful. Nested types are very, very important. They solve the problem of having data in one place, right? And then you can do whatever you want with the data. We'll talk about it later. Right now, we'll learn about how to, for example, access things like that. Firstly, notice that in order to create a nested type, you create a list, like normal, right? But now, instead of holding only one single value, right? This is one single value, we hold inside just lists, right? These are just lists, like here. It's like if we had copied them from here to here, right? Okay, and now guess how can we access them? Look. When we type guest list, we have got a list of lists, right? When we type guest list of 0, we have got this list here. So in order to access that element, what? We need to just type guest list of 0, 0, right? And we have got Arkadiusz. So let's exercise a bit. I want to access this thing. How to do it? Guest list. This is what? A second row. So we count from 0 in list, so 0, then 1. So we're gonna type 1. And then we want to access woman. So 0, 1, 2. And we have got women, right? That's working fine. Okay. So we can easily access elements. We can easily change elements. Like that. For example, guest list of 0, of 1, which is for example, my age, right? Notice that I typed here 29, here is 28, so I need to change it back to 29, for example, right? And when we run the module and we access guest list of 0, you'll notice that my age has changed. It's working fine. So you can easily change the values, you can access them, you can add new elements at the end of the list. So for example, guest list, append, and we can add at the end, for example, new guy. So like that. And now let's say it will be, for example, Sophie, women. And as you can see, we've added at the end Sophie. But the cool thing is that you do not need to use only list inside a list. You can have, for example, tuples inside a list. What will be a benefit of the solution like that? Well, this time we won't be able to change the values here, right? So it means that this thing is impossible to do. When we run the module, we'll get an error because tuple object does not support item assignment, right? But we can easily append our guest list because on the outside we have got what? A list. So we just added a new element at the end. We cannot change the values that are inside, but we can add new elements. Why would I want it? Because I would want to have benefits of tuples here and benefits of lists here, right? We can add new elements, but these things are a bit faster. They take less memory and so on, right? So we've got two good things in one place. So we have got a list inside the tuple, but it's not the end. We can have a tuple inside the tuple. So when we do it like that, we cannot now append new elements. Why? Because tuples cannot be changed at all. We've got now a benefit of even more speeding it up, but we lost benefit of being able to add new elements. It really depends on your situation, what you should use, right? You will need to look at your data and decide, depending on your program, what you want to use. But that's not the end. You can have, for example, a set, and inside a set a tuple. When you run this module, as you can see, we cannot append new element because you cannot append things to the set. You can add new elements, but you cannot append because append means that you add a new element at the end of the container. But you need to remember that sets are unordered, which means that we cannot exactly say where the elements are inside, right? We do not know if when we run this program, Arcadius will be on the first page. It can be at the last. The set is like a sack, like a bag, where you put elements, you mix them, and you don't know in which order they will come out when you try to, reach for them with your hand, right? So you cannot append things, but you can add new elements easily, right? You just add them somewhere, you put them into this place, and it should work fine. But you cannot add the list inside. You can add only tuple inside. And now, as you can see, we've added Sophie, and as you can see, it's a second element right now, right? But we added it at the end. It's not working like that. We just added it into the set, into the bag, into some kind of sack, and you don't know in which place, in which order it will be, right? Because it's not appendable. But you might be like, but what? Why would I want to do it like that? Oh, let's see, something like that. Let's say you have got second guest list. Let's say that you have got somebody here like J and B, and let's change, for example, them to something like that. And now I would like to connect guest list with another guest list, like for example deck. We can easily use the union, the sum operator, and now we've connected these two sets here, right? This one and this one. Notice that sets must have unique elements. So Arkadiusz, even though we have got it 2 times here, it is placed only once here. Every other element will be at least shown once. This is like a sum, right? Like a new union. We've connected these two sets to each other. And now because of that, we know that we need to reserve only places for these people. Or we could use, for example, the connection, the conjunction. And now, as you can see, we can easily see who is in one set and in another set in the same time. And we can instantly see that the person was, for example, invited 2 times, and we can, for example, call him or, you know, just reserve one place, whatever. We can somehow react on that. So sets have pluses, like, for example, this one, right? You can add a new element, you can remove elements, but the problem is that you cannot exactly say in what order the things are inside. If you don't care about order, always use sets because they are also faster than lists. Okay, so to sum up, we use nested types in order to have data that is related to each other somehow in one place, in one variable, right? Because of that, it is easier for us to read the program, to retrieve data from database files, which we'll talk about later. We can, of course, go through the elements easier because that way, which we'll learn in the next lesson. So nested types are really, really important to understand. Okay, they are very often used in programming world. Okay, that's only the lesson. Thank you very much.